It is Sunday. It is 3 o'clock. It is the 14th day of March 2021. Daylight Savings Time. And I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM, with another OGGM Grump of the Week when I sit on my porch, get out my shotgun, and yell at you kids to get off my lawn. And I had a chance to jump in on another Legion of Myth vlogcast podcast with the topic of art came up, which is just it's a very confusing topic, and I'm not sure what Max wanted to hear. Obviously, what his idea and my idea and Heathen Dog's idea and that guy's idea and that it's all going to be different. Art is subjective because it's art's job to hold a mirror up to creation. And let's face it, there's no mirror big enough. So art's job is to inspire. At the end of the day, art's job is to inspire. And if it inspires one person or 1,000 people, it's done its job. You know, if the artist could care, the artist could not care. I mean, Johnny Rotten didn't care if his music, you know, people liked his music or not. It was him. He was expressing himself. And if one person liked it, great. If nobody liked it, you know, the people who understood got him, and the rest could go to hell, as Johnny said. So art for art's sake exists in the universe. The argument was, is there too much art? Is there too much not coloring within the lines in the gaming industry right now? Is there too much, I don't really know what, you know, letting the imagination and not inspiring limits into the game, I guess. I mean, like a lot of us, he's mad with the choices that the publishing companies are making and the censorship and the reverse censorship and cancel culture and reverse cancel culture. And I'm upset with it too, you know, and as a victim of cancel culture, as somebody who has been called out and labeled and accused, yeah, I mean, you know, this censorship thing is ugly. The toxicity is ugly. How does that affect our art? Well, D&D is not the thing. You know, the rule book is not the art form. This is not the art. This is just numbers and letters and words that tell you how to add up the math for the game. The art is what happens at the table. So, you know, to paraphrase Runehammer Hank, D&D is not the rules. It's not the game. It's not the dice. It's not the character sheets. It's not what, you know, Wizards of the Coast tells you what D&D is. D&D is what happens when you and your friends are sitting at the table. And as long as everybody sits at the table, agrees to tell the same story, who the fuck cares what anybody else thinks? Who cares what I think or Max thinks or whatever? Your art is inspiring you to tell your story. And that's great. But don't, you know, if your art offends me, that's part of art's job. If your art inspires me, that's part of art's job. If my art upsets you, that's art's job. Otherwise, I don't know who this art guy is anyways, but he's sure getting a lot of acclaim. So I wrote a response. And, you know, I think I get what he was trying to say. But so one of Max's points was how there's just so much out there now. You know, Kickstarter, and there's no real, you know, editing anymore. There's nobody saying you can't put that out because, you know, the technology exists now that we could post anything out there, and there's no real rules anymore. It's a wasteland. It's gangsters. It's the Old West now for self-publishing because there's nobody saying, okay, you got to follow these things. But this is not the first time this has happened. This always happens. Yes, this makes it a lot easier for us to put this out there. But, you know, before this, we had zines when self-publishing, and before zines, we had, you know, other ways, and before that, we had other ways. People are always going to find a way to get their stuff out there. I mean, you go back hundreds and hundreds of years to the guy literally standing on a soapbox at a corner, yelling out his opinion and yelling out what he thinks, you know, and yelling out stuff. You know, getting on your soapbox is based upon a real thing of guys who would just get up there. I mean, you know, there's nothing. Art will always get out there, and people will always find ways to congratulate themselves by getting their art out there. So this is nothing new. This just makes it easier. But before this, we had zines, and we had MySpace and AOL. I mean, there was gonna be something after this too. This is not the end all be all of self-publishing, but right now self-publishing is the Wild West because there's nothing regulating it, and anybody can publish any piece of crap out there, which is not new. And when there's so much stuff out there, how do you know which one is going to be good, which one is going to be bad, which one's going to be something that you like? Should I kickstart this? Whatever. So you can't stop somebody from self-publishing. Anybody has the ability to put their crap out there now if they want to. And if all you care about is getting your voice out there, and you don't care about whatever, and you're not in it to make money, fine, put it out there. But without any regulations, without any sheriff, just throwing it out there, just broadcasting it out there, you might hit it, or you're more likely than not, you're going to miss it. For every Kickstarter succeeds, there are hundreds every week that fails. For every Mad Max that became, a cinematic success, there were hundreds of Roger Corman Presents Biker Babes of the Badlands. For every Clerks and She's Gotta Have It, which are, two great examples of just guys who made films, funded by their credit cards and just threw it out there hoping that it would succeed, there were 100 Gideon's Runs, a film I wrote that totally failed, Self-publishing is not new. It's just easier now. And if you want to be punk, fine. We can't stop you. Maybe you'll be crash and burn, or maybe you'll have one good night and there's one person who hears you and that changes their life, and you go on to become the Go-Go's and change the world. That's great. We vote for our wallet. So if you want to throw crap out there, can't stop you. But if you want that crap to be respected, if you want that crap to be something that actually, sells, then you gotta follow the rules. Right now, Wizards of the Coast wallet is telling them to bend a knee to cancel culture. This will not be the first time and will not be the last. Let's face it, even Michelangelo sold out. And this is not the first time an individual has said, you're wrong because you don't think like I do. It's always going to happen. Right now, we're experiencing a mad run of censorship and cancel culture. It's not the first time and it won't be the last. But we're already seeing that cancel culture is starting to eat itself. Like the case in Texas with that book about the transgender kid. Cancel culture is eating itself. As Ultron said, we inevitably create what we destroy. That will destroy us, right? So in the end, just be yourself. Unless you can be Batman. Then always be Batman. Yes, there is a lot of stuff out there. But how much will ever actually make it onto somebody's desk or onto somebody's computer? Out of the hundreds of Kickstarters, one of those is going to actually matter. Yes, okay, take for a point of view that tavern book that made $1 million in Kickstarter. How is it actually going to sell in the market? Because it's got a few, YouTubers' names on it. Well, I can walk into the store of my friendly local game store and look to see if any of those have actually made it on the shelves. And it's like, hardly, if it ain't Wizards of the Coast or Pathfinder, it's probably not on the shelf. But sure, somebody can pay to download it. And because you have the ability to throw it out there now, you don't have to edit. You don't have to spell check. You can just vomit out whatever you want. But if you don't care, that's fine. Max, if they don't care, you can't stop them. They're always going to find a way. They always have found a way. And they always will. Somebody will always find a way to get their voice heard. And if it affects one person or 1 million people, we don't know. We don't know. Who knew? Who knew that some idiot drawing sunflowers would become such an iconic artist? Or some guy singing a song about peanut butter and jelly and banana sandwiches would become the king of rock and roll, Or who knew that a movie filmed over 3 days in a closed convenience store in the middle of nowhere, New Jersey, would go on to become clerks. You know? They're taking a gamble. And for everyone that follows all the right literary and editorial and everything, there's going to be a million who are just Roger Corman, who just throwing it out there and don't care if it succeeds or fails. And who knows? Maybe that piece of crap, unedited, artistic vomit will will be recycled and, 20 years from now be viewed as a cult classic the same way, Roger Corman movies are viewed, or, 3D porn or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? Yes, we would like people to edit stuff. Yes, we don't like being told how to think now, because the censorship and the cancel culture, and people are now telling us what to say and what to think, and we don't know how D&D works anymore because we've been told, well, that's the wrong way, and you have to be this and this and this and this and this, and it's really, D&D is dead. Long live D&D. Art can't be wrong, but it can be done better. It can be done different. But at the end of the day, it's not there to make anything other than what it is, art. And art's job is to inspire. So if it inspires anger, it's done its job. If it inspires epiphanies, it's done its job. If it inspires sadness, it's done its job. If it inspires joy and creativity, if it's something you love and you are passionate about, and obviously Max is passionate about this, it's done its job. My job as an artist is no more or no less than to make my art and hope it inspires you in some way. Art reflects the universe. It reflects God. At the end of the day, do you see God in my art? To quote, post-impressionism, Russell art theory. Do you see a vase, or do you see a woman's, sexuality? Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. At the end of the day, be yourself. If you can't be yourself, be Batman. I am the OGGM, and if you appreciate this content, comment down below. If you never want to see me talk about this subject ever again, comment down below. Remember, I can't fix it if you don't tell me what's broken. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 500 subs by August 4th, and we'll do something crazy. And yes, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper. Support me. Remember, I'm doing a contest. 350th sub gets a copy of Mutants and Masterminds 2nd edition mailed to them. It's daylight savings time to remember to do the daylight savings thing. It's also 3.14, which means it's Pie Day. So go out there and treat yourself to a piece of pie. I will talk to you losers later.